Namaskar friends. Today we are going to discuss about recent development at the global front, that is global tariff wars and India's economic resilience, charting path through self-reliance and strategic alliances. We'll discuss about the recent development at the globe, that is tariff wars. It started after declaration of tariff levied by US under the presidentship of Trump, and abruptly it was uh, enhanced multiple times that disrupt the entire globe. But India's economy was very resilient, and this resilience, there are many factors like Atmanirbharta, self-reliance, and our multilateral trades, our alliances at tariff fronts, economic partnership, and there are so many factors like we are our trade partners, like in area wise geographically we are attached to South Asia, Southeast Asia, West Asia, Africa, and India is the leader of global South, which have very much a strong and resilient economic and financial relations. So India managed to ward off this global trade war, in which many powerful countries and the key countries like China and in fact the entire EU, European Union, they are miserably affected. India made it as an opportunity, and we found that we managed to come with our flying colors. So friends, we are going to discuss about the global tariff wars among the countries like US and China, US and EU, European Union, and the affected countries, emerging economies of Africa and South America, Southeast Asia, and how Indian economy is so resilient that managed to emerge facing all the problems in a very much a smart way. So we are going to define it first, that it refers to the evolving dynamic in international trade where nations impose tariffs and trade barriers in pursuit of economic or political leverage, and India's strategic response to such disruptions. Whatever the global trade wars happening, it is still evolving these days. It encapsulates India's ability to ward off, withstand, and adapt to global trade tension, particularly tariff escalations among major economies like US, China, and the Europe, etc. At the same time, we will discuss about our resilience factor like self-reliance, critical sectors, and forging a strategic bilateral and the multilateral partners. So this concept highlights India's proactive shift from trade dependency on a more resilient, diversified, and innovation-driven economy, ensuring long-term sustainability and geopolitical leverage in a fragmented global economic order. As I have already mentioned, that it started with imposition of a tariff hike of almost $200 billion in one go by the President Trump in recent time, that triggers trade tension, and India among the key economies targeted alongside China, EU, and other emerging economy of the world. So we found that partial rollback happened by the mid-May, and that eroded the trust of the US that whatever the decision they are taking, they are not consistent. That creates a very much trust deficit, and US missing its credibility. So India's path, resilience, self-reliance, and strategic diplomacy. Trigger event was Trump's tariff escalation that was around $200 billion in goods affected electronic, pharma, oil, and India's trade hit hard, prompting rapid diplomatic response. The moment we got the shock of this reciprocative tariff, our diplomatic response was to manage it in the best possible way. We found that this tariff was criticized from the different corners because of, especially the domestic one, because the ultimate affected people are the own US people, and it was highly criticized at that point of moment. So later on, it was rolled back by the US by the mid-May. It started. So global supply chains destabilized and disrupted as well through this tariff hike. Later on, if we analyze, we find that the main trade war started between the US and China, in which the tariff was hiked up to 245%, and to reciprocate immediately, Beijing also imposed the same tariff on US, as it was supply chain was disrupted and loss of almost $120 billion in a single go. So disruption in intake, semiconductor, rare earth metals, which were the main trading goods of China to US, that were directly impacted, and the different related goods and services were affected in US, like EV cars, like mobiles, like electronic goods. So this multinational considered India as a viable alternative because the supply chain from China was disrupted. So India got an opportunity in this crisis, and India enters the spotlight for manufacturing relocation also. There was a very much a smart move of India, that this strategic opportunity was captured by India, and there are so many good reasons of that, as we have a very good number of youth population, and they are skilled also. They are almost 30 million in number, and India is trying to educate and skill them in such a manner that they will use as a manpower for this global tariff, global trade purpose, and they were engaged in different type of job opportunity also. So India was considered as a very good opportunity for the multinational companies. They try to invest in India, and they find India, they liked India due to many reasons, like democratic governance, like transparency in our regulatory environment, like competitive business ecosystem, and we have reforms in our economic ecosystem also, like GST, insolvency bill, and PLI boost global investment confidence, and they try to prefer India over the other countries to invest at this point of moment. India has so many good factors due to which it is resilient in its economic and trade, like it has mixed economy that combines state control and market freedom. Market dynamic, at the same time, a state control and regulate if any type of turbulence or fluctuation in the international market. Second, a state welfare with a private innovation. We assimilate any type of private innovations in our country, but at the same time, we have the mechanism, we go for the support systems for our youth, for our farmers, and that help us. At the same time, we have a strong safety network like UPI, PDS, and MSP, minimum supporting price, like public distribution systems, and UPI. It's a unified interface for transfer of money, so that promotes stability amid the volatility. At the same time, India continuously reforming and adopting the mechanism for trying to create a business ecosystem in which investors have the benefit, and whatever the rate escapism we had earlier in this era of neoliberalism, India has adopted and offering a better environment for the investors. So India came and considered by the different companies as the best alternative for the China or whatever the country suffering, emerging economies, by the US tariff and US tariff, this global tariff wars. At the same time, we have some good mechanism through which we try to strengthen our economy, and we are resilient, like Bharatmala and Sagarmala, that is infrastructure bone of our country, like UPI. We have our smart banking system. At the same time, we have already digitized it, and digital payments revolution, that is unified payment interfaces that help India to go for this trade war off very easily. We have mission of a smart city mission, like urbanization plan, and we are offering the infrastructure in which the best mechanism and cleanliness, green energy, digital economy. These are factors which are directly impacting our economic resilience scenario. We have our PPP system, in which people private partnership, in which with the collaboration of private and the public both, this economy runs smoothly at without any type of risk, and in very much welfareist manner. We find that in the post scenario also, the US-India trade relations post tariff war, that despite frictions, strategic trade ties enduring ties was again restored, because India is seen as a transparent, reliable alternative to China. It has a skilled English-speaking workforce. At the same time, growing US support for the India in the Indo-Pacific. Some strategic aspects also. India's global trade networks, like we have a very much a strong global trade network in South Asia, West Asia, Africa, and American, European countries. In the diversified economy, we go for trade with our South Asian partner, Nepal, Bhutan, Myanmar, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Maldives, for textile, education, exports. For the West Asia, we go for the energy security, the oil and petroleum, and we have our Indian labor force over there, and skilled labor over there, who are working in the different sectors, and they have developed the infrastructure of the Gulf country in the West Asia, especially Saudi Arabia, Oman, Qatar, and these countries, and they whatever they earn, they try to send back to their home. That's also a factor of remittances. So with West Asia, we have relation of energy security, at the same time remittances. With Africa, in the recently G20 presidency, we find that India is the leader of the global South, South Asia, Southeast Asia, West Asia, Africa, the emerging economy. In these countries, India has it's a very much a strong leadership role, and in which we have a good trade relations with Africa also. India help in Africa for its infrastructure development, pharmaceutical relations we have, digital economy, and we have educational hub we also established over there. For US and Europe, we have trade relations in the field of IT development, green technology, and defense services. We have realized in the recent development in these factors which make India very strong, and India tried to punch more than its weight in these fields, with trading with these all partners in the different geographic areas, South Asia, West Asia, Africa, Latin America, both Americas in fact, and Europe as well. It has diversified economy that make India resilient, and India has multilateral relations. So it was not only dependent on the US trade and tariff that make its economy and trade relations very strong, and it doesn't affect its economic GDP, because India recently managed to improvise and managed to maintain its GDP as well. So we have the different forums in which we have trade diplomacy. We have realized during our G20 presidency also, during which India asserted its leadership for the global South, in the field of AI, in the field of inclusive growth. India talks about climate action and equitable trade relations and presence of the global south also. So in this manner, India represent the different at the different forum. It's a strength, either it is G20, BRICS, a Quad, or we have tried to develop our FTA relations also with UAE, with Australia, UK, and EU as well. FTA in which we go for the free trade alliances, and in this free trade alliances, we managed to the tariff would be zero considered, and that offered the opportunity of both the partners that they can simultaneously together they can go for trade without any type of high tariff. And most of the products, like we have second largest economy trading partner is UAE, and we have already signed FTA that enhanced our trade relations above $80 to $100 billion in few recent time in last 3-4 years. So it has very good, very powerful and very much elegant progressive approach. So India made this FTA relations with UAE, Australia, EU, and UK also, and we have already signed our digital payment gateway, that is UPA, and that is acceptable in the different countries of South Asia, Europe, even Gulf countries, that give India an edge over the other countries that couldn't manage to survive, and they suffered with the tariff wars, like China, like EU, and they are negotiating. It had been partially rolled back also because of its inconsistency, but India managed to ward off because of economic resilience, its domestic policies, its diversified economy. It has so many type of government has come with the policies and programs and mission also, like Atmanirbharta, self-reliance. We're trying to diversify our economy. At the same time, we try to engage our youth, our labor force, our skilled workers to learn such a skill or develop themselves, that they can be engaged in skill development, and we can be self-reliant. We can't import products that we can easily manufacture, and for that purpose we have developed PLI for the key sectors like electronics, hydrogen, that is green economic initiatives. That in the pharmaceutical and digital, India is already at the top and leading in those sectors, like digital and the startup India, that also helping India to go for self-reliance. Skill India, almost 30 million plus, they are trained modern industries, and they can serve in day-to-day life of and business of the country. At the same time, recently our Prime Minister Modi, he has announced regarding that, go for our own self-reliance and our own products. So that was encouraged, that is called vocal for local, that is revive indigenous industries and try to dependent or utilize the products which are indigenous in nature, which are developed by our own country. That will help us to make our country more Atmanirbhar. At the same time, we have our vision of Viksit Bharat, that India would be a developed country by 2047. And that initiative of our Atmanirbharta, self-reliance, and using our indigenous products, that will help in this initiative, in this our vision for Viksit Bharat of 2047. In the same manner, we are trying to engage different industries like electronic, pharmaceutical companies, hydrogen production or hydrogen energy, that will help our country to go for self-reliance. So these initiatives help India for a resilient economy. At the same time, challenge whatever come in future, like recently developed this global financial trade wars, and we visualized very closely that many countries they affected very strongly, and they couldn't manage, but India survived in that trade. Now we compare with the India and China competitive advantage. Like India has a democratic government that attracts ethical trade. China has centralized administration, and that couldn't manage allow. They are very much problematic in going for the trade. India has this advantage of democratic governance and business and trade ease and comfort. Like better IP laws, we have legal transparency. India is seen as a reliable long-term partner, and that's the reason India's goods and services are more popular than Chinese products in the international market. And many supply chains, if they leave China, especially after the post-COVID-19, India became the very much reliable nation to approach by the different MNCs, and whatever the companies or nations they came India, they realized that it is a reliable partner, and they can go for long this trade relations. So we at the same time we have a strategic defense in the high tech exports. Also, we developed our defense systems in the recent time very strong, and we exports like different type of defense arsenals, equipments, missiles, and our partners in Southeast Asia, in Africa, in Latin America, in Europe, they are showing interest, and they are purchasing also. They are doing the trade of our different defense equipments. At the same time, our digital and skill in the electronic goods development, in the field of AI, we have supremacy and we have a leadership. So in the field of exporting AI, surveillance, and vaccine diplomacy, these all are the very much part and parcel of India's advantage in the alternative source of energy like solar, wind. India has developed its equipments that are very much popular in the West, popular in the global South also, and they are preferred by so many companies, so many nations, and India becoming a security partner for global South. So these are some very good reason behind our dominance or our resilience, our strategic alliances that give a cushion from any type of economic or financial international tariff turbulence, economic crisis, and India managed to ward off this type of timely economic and financial crisis. That there may be international trade, tariff barriers. Some countries they go for the nationalistic or protectionistic approach, like in the recent time US did that. Trump he came with the vision of or try to woo their countrymen that make US great again. For that, whatever the policy and programs they are channelized, they are adopted, that should be US centric, and that's why protectionist. And whatever that trade we will do, we'll impose the same tariff. Earlier it was that emerging economies or the trade partners there is differences because in USA developed country and geographically also alienated. So the countries of the West and the countries of global South, they try to go for that trade because of this advantage of tariff that help those countries in many different manners to assist and help. So in recent time we observed that Trump's trade doctrine was criticized with the many reasons, and some of them are lacked coherence and the long-term planning. We realized very recently that the tariff which was imposed on April 2nd, that was reversed and partially ward off also within one month, 10-12 days by mid May. So this reversal due to the domestic inflation that also caused and criticized the Trump's policy that harmed U.S. alliances and partners' Indian advocacy for the multilateral stability. So India made this tariff war as an opportunity. We found that India shows resilience amid tariff wars, the blending self-reliance with the global cooperations, and the strategic digital and the diplomatic assets aligned, because the moment it was tariff was started, our diplomatic relations was alerted, and they tried to poised to lead and civilized global tariff shifts. So India managed this tariff wars very smartly with this resilient economy and special diplomatic approaches. Thank you so much. Jai Hind.